All right, welcome back, and I'm here with Phil Redman, offering manager at OneTrust. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you, great to be here.
So I'm not sure everybody who's tuning in knows a lot about OneTrust, so tell me a little bit about the company.
Oh, happy to do it. So OneTrust, we've been around almost 6 years. We're co-headquartered in London and Atlanta, and we've been around helping companies with their different programs, whether it's a privacy program, whether it's their data governance program, ethics, and now we launched last year OneTrust ESG, which helps companies run and manage their ESG programs internally.
So ESG is hot right now. Everyone's talking about it, all the companies. I'm curious if you can share a little bit about what you're paying attention to when it comes to the ESG space.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different areas, right? If you think about ESG, environmental, social, and governance, it covers a lot of different metrics or KPIs that companies want to measure and then report on. And so the idea is to be transparent. And that's why we're called OneTrust, because it's about trust and transparency. And so we help companies with our cloud-based software to be more transparent around what they're doing, whether that's around their carbon emissions, which obviously is, very hot right now, and companies want to understand, if they want to get to net zero, they want to be climate conductive, they want to make sure that they're reducing their emissions, you need to know where you are. So counting your emissions is really complicated. So that's one area that's really hot. Another area is around things like diversity and equity and inclusion. Companies want to be more trustful and transparent, and the only way to do that is to measure that internally. What are you doing in this space? Right? What are you doing in terms of gender equality, racial equality, et cetera? And so we can help companies pull that data in, analyze that data, and report on that data. And so depending on what region of the world you're in and what your strategy is as a company, they may have different areas that they're looking to do. But there's no doubt that more and more there's regulation that's coming. So regulation to put out your carbon footprint, or regulation to talk about your equality programs that you have. All those things are becoming more and more important for companies to pay attention to. And the challenge is, how do you manage all that data? And that's what we're there to do, is help them with that.
So I have to assume that given that you had other areas that you were addressing before, you said cybersecurity, right? And some of that. What were the lever points to get from those areas into the ESG space?
So everything that we do is based around the idea of trust. And this is really kind of a new category. And we feel that companies that can be more transparent are more trustful companies. And we think that's becoming a very big issue for organizations, right? It's just like you think about in our personal relationships with humans. Trust is such a huge component of that relationship. If you don't have that trust, then having a relationship with someone is difficult. It's the same thing at companies too. It just hasn't been looked at or measured or really studied. But we have, and we spend a lot of time on that. And so companies that are more trustful and those that are more transparent about what they're doing, they're not hiding things, then their employees are going to be happier and they'll stay longer. They'll have a better relationship with their customers. Their customers are choosing those relationships now based upon some of those items, right? And the same thing, whether investors are also want to be more involved. So if you're thinking about investing in a company that is strong in ESG, that's strong in the environment, you want to make sure you have all the data, all the information that you can, to make sure that you're putting your money in the right place. And so there's all these different stakeholders now who want to know. And we're helping these companies be able to pull in and be the most accurate they can on that information, so that way they can disclose that, whether they're required to from the government or whether they think it's just important to do on their own. And we're seeing more and more companies, even before regulation, they want to do that on their own, right? But they just don't have the tools to do it. And so that's what we decided to help them. And so that trust linkage is all throughout all the different things that we do.
Got it. So we have a little over a minute left. And your role, I just want to ask you a little bit about your role at OneTrust. You're the offering manager. Can you share a little bit about your priorities in the next year or so?
Yeah, so we want to make this as easy as possible. As the offering manager, I launched our ESG program. And so understanding how we can help companies be more efficient, reduce the effort that it takes to provide more information, communicate better. Those are all the things. So we're investing in technologies, whether artificial intelligence technologies, business intelligence technologies, data analytics, right? So that way we can help them get data in a central repository, analyze that data, and generally to make better decisions. I mean, that's what it all boils down to, is using your data to help make better decisions. Not the only thing you use, but that's a key part of it. And so the easier we can make that process, we think we can make companies more successful in whatever type of program they want to run.
And just a half minute left, but are there any industries in particular that you're targeting, or you're just broadly adaptable to any industries?
We're adaptable to any industry. Now on the carbon management side, that's a little bit different because each industry has different emissions factors and different things. And so, we certainly highlight some in financial services, and we've launched our financial services capabilities for financed emissions, supply chain, logistics, transportation. There's some key ones that are really kind of focused on energy management, all those areas. But generally, we're very horizontal. horizontal, all different size companies too, because every company needs to look at this. It's going to be important for all of us to do the most that we can to make a big change. And that's what we want to do is, provide that scale and that scope to have the biggest impact as possible.
Great. So we've been talking with Phil Redman, offering manager OneTrust. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.